Toby the Tiger was just like any other tiger living under communism. And just like any other tiger, his dream was to become the leader of the Soviet Union. But he didn't know how he would do it. But then one day when he came home from his job eating humans or whatever, he had an idea. If his job was to eat humans, maybe he could eat Stalin and take his place. With his plan set in place, he began his journey to Moscow to eat Stalin. However, since he was a tiger, he didn't know where Moscow was. He asked a human and they gave him a map to Moscow. He followed it for the next 4 months. And when he arrived, he saw it. When he saw it, he immediately recognized that this is not what he was looking for. The human gave him a map to a cow with moss on it named Moscow. He was extremely angry and went back to the guy who gave him the map and ate him. However, he still wanted to be the leader of the Soviet Union, so he got a map and made sure it went to the capital of the Soviet Union, not a cow. After he got the map, it took him another 5 minutes to arrive at Moscow, and this time he got to the right place. And he could see Stalin walking to where he was going to deliver a speech. Thinking quickly, he went up to him and ate him, but in order to make sure he would be the next leader, he put on his clothes before anybody noticed, and continued walking to give the speech pretending to be Stalin. Since he had Stalin's clothes, nobody noticed it wasn't him, and so now he could rule the USSR. Now as leader of the Soviet Union, he could declare war on whoever he wished. He decided to declare war on frogs. He never liked those slimy idiots, and now he had the power to do something about it. He declared that all frogs would be sent to the Gulag. But the frogs rose up in revolt. They all met up at Kazan and assembled an army. Once Toby got there with his army, they were already ready for battle. The frogs made camp in the fort and prepared for a siege. Toby circled them. After about 3 days of stalemate, the frogs were tired of waiting around and barely had any food. So they all burst out of the city at once in one direction. The Soviets, who weren't expecting the assault, were caught off guard and had to quickly get their weapons. With their surprise, the frogs were able to push back the Soviets a little bit. But once the Soviets got their guns, they mowed down the rebels pretty easily because they were literally just frogs. Eventually, the last few hundred frogs surrendered, ending the siege of Kazan and the war. Returning to Moscow a national hero, he was able to go back and rule his empire during times of peace. Toby seems to have a long reign ahead of him, and maybe I could cover it in a part 2.